Hello, English students. Welcome to your English class number 17, Advanced Level. Very good. Open your PowerPoints, go to slide number 2, and find these popular sayings. A bird in hand is worth two in the bush. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. All good things come to an end. All that glitters is not gold. Alright, so after that we have this text about NASA. Alright, so let's begin. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is responsible for scientific and technological achievements in human spaceflight. Aeronautics, space science, and space applications that had spread impacts in America and as well in the world. The agency has conducted hundreds of missions since the early 60s. NASA has offices across America, but the main operation center is in Houston, Texas. The launches take place in Florida, and the Intelligence Service Office is located in Washington, D.C. When NASA opened for business on October 1st, 1952, it accelerated the work already started on human and robotic spaceflight. NASA's first high-profile program was Project Mercury, an effort to learn if humans could survive in space. This was followed by the Project Gemini, which used the spacecraft built for two astronauts to perfect the capabilities needed to the national objective of a human trip to the moon by the end of the 1960s. Project Apollo achieved that objective in July 1969. Slide number 4. The Man on the Moon. Apollo 11 was the space flight that first landed humans on the moon. Commander Neil Armstrong and pilot Buzz Aldrin formed the American crew that landed the Apollo lunar on July 20, 1969, after a 4-day trip. Armstrong became the first person to step onto a lunar surface. Aldrin joined him 19 minutes later. They spent about 2.25 hours together outside the spacecraft, and they collected 47.5 pounds, 21.5 kilos, of lunar material to bring back to Earth. Apollo 11 was launched by Saturn V rocket from Kennedy Space Center on Merritt Island, Florida, on July 16th. It was the 5th crewed mission. Armstrong's first step onto the lunar surface was broadcast on live TV to a worldwide audience. He described the event as one small step for the man, one giant leap for the mankind. Apollo 11 effectively ended the space race and fulfilled the national goal proposed in 1961 by the President John F. Kennedy. Before this decade is out, we'll be landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. They returned to Earth and splashed down in the Pacific Ocean on July 24th, after more than 8 days in space. Alright, so that was Apollo 11, and now we're gonna talk about another mission that wasn't that well succeeded. The Space Shuttle Challenger was the second shuttle to reach space in April 1983. It successfully completed 9 milestone missions during its nearly 3 years of service. In total, the spacecraft spent 62 days, 7 hours, 56 minutes and 22 seconds in space. Challenger hosted the first spacewalk of the Space Shuttle program on April 7, 1983, and carried the first American female and first black astronauts. On August 27, 1984, the President Reagan announced the Teacher in Space Project, TSP, designed to inspire students, honor teachers, and spur interest in mathematics, science, and space exploration. The project would carry teachers into space as payload specialists, non-astronaut civilians, who would return to their classrooms to share the experience with their students. This project was praised by the whole society and the media. People in the country and also outside the US were looking forward to know which teacher would win this competition. More than 40,000 applications were mailed to interested teachers, while 11,000 teachers sent complete applications to NASA. Continuing, slide number 6. Each application included a potential lesson that would be taught from space while on space shuttle. The applications were sorted and then sent to various state departments of education, who were then responsible for narrowing down their state applicants to a final set of 2 each. These 114 applicants were notified of their selections and were gathered together for further selection process, down to 10 finalists. The teachers selected were trained for a time, and in 1985 NASA selected Christa McAuliffe to be the first teacher in space, with Barbara Morgan as her backup. McAuliffe was high school social studies teacher from Concord, New Hampshire. She planned to teach 2 15-minute lessons from the space shuttle. McAuliffe and Morgan spent a year training for a number of situations they might face while in space. They didn't teach during that time and had their wages paid by NASA. After her selection, McAuliffe became an instant celebrity across the country. As a fan of NASA's missions, and trusting 100% that the mission was safe, she felt super excited and proud. Slide number 7. The tragedy. NASA was delayed on the program schedule, and issues on the spaceship made the first Teacher in Space launch to be postponed 2 times. It caused them to urge to make the launch as soon as possible. Regardless, the specialists' warnings saying that launching when the temperature is below 11 degrees would be too risky. On January 28, 1986, when the temperature was 3 degrees Celsius, the spaceship was carried the spaceship that carried what would be the first Teacher in Space exploded in a fatal accident 73 seconds into its flight. Together with Christa, the teacher, were 6 astronauts. NASA knew about the risks. The issue with the piece was causing a leak, and that leak was getting worse mission after mission. Testimony reveals failures in communication that resulted in a decision to launch based on incomplete and sometimes misleading information, a conflict between engineering data and management judgments. Let's go slide number 8. TV cameras broadcast live images from Cape Canaveral, Florida, where the launch took place. The accident was watched by millions of people on TV and hundreds on site, including the crew family members, who were not able to understand what was happening at first until NASA's loudspeakers announced that the spaceship had exploded. The event was considered an accident and no one was held responsible or prosecuted for it. 17 years later, another fatal accident occurred during NASA's mission on space. On February 1st, 2003, when the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated on the way back as it re-entered the atmosphere, killing all 7 crew members. The circumstance of this tragedy is related to a similar damage found at the Challenger rocket. After that accident, NASA spent 2 years without having any missions, just like it happened after the Challenger accident. In 2007, Barbara Morgan, the backup teacher for the Challenger mission, goes on her first mission as a professional astronaut and conducted the first class from space, as her late friend Krista would do 30 years before. So that's a very sad story, right? I mean, they had really good intentions on doing it, and unfortunately this happened. It was a real tragedy. So on slide 9, you're gonna find the vocabulary for the 2 videos. The first video, it's a little longer, it's around 7 minutes. It's when the vice president announces who is gonna be the winner, who was going to be the teacher that is going to space. So the vice president explains the reason why they chose this person and what they wanted to do with this project. The other video is the trailer for the show. They made a show, like they made a series, a documentary about this, so it's on Netflix, and this is just the trailer for you to take a look and see what they talk about it. Alright, so this is it. I see you in class. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye bye.